Okay, our next presentation. Where's Jim? Oh, there you go. Okay, our next presentation is Caldera Health Limited. Now we're very pleased today. We've actually got two companies that have come across the Tasman, and they're both New Zealand companies, both Macinthes and also Caldera. So we're very pleased to have them presenting today. I know they've got a great share registry as well of investors already invested into Caldera, and I'm sure you'll touch on that in your presentation. So let me give you he's actually taken my slides. I'll let Jim tell the story. Please welcome Caldera Health to the stage.
Thank you very much, Steve, and thank you for the opportunity to present here in Brisbane. We'll do all we can to help Australian business. Thank you. I'm going to talk about our small company, Caldera. It's an Auckland-based company. We have a small staff, 6 people, and 1 part-time accountant. We've been operating for 3 years, and our target is to develop a suite of diagnostics for early-stage prostate cancer. Why? The current test that's used globally is what's termed the PSA test, and the test is widely publicised and regarded now as being inadequate for the job of diagnosis because of the inaccuracies that are inherent in the test, and I'll talk about some of these. Interestingly, the business strategy we operate under and the companies that we seek to target for our products also are part of our exit strategy plan. Currently, we're seeking $3.5 million Kiwi dollars in a Series B capital raising. The money we raise, we want to put into finalising the prototype of each of our first 2 products. One is called Proscans, the other Guardians, and to put these into clinical trials. Trials where the endpoints have been devised by diagnostic companies who may be interested in the test, and which will be run by an experienced group of clinicians and statisticians in the Auckland area. Further, developing licenses to the particular materials that we need to ensure long-term supply of our diagnostics and into our licensing program. The milestones are those you might expect of an early stage company. In 2010, we raised our first seed funding and obtained a government business grant. This was repeated in 2011, and our targets this year are to increase the amount of capital that we raise and to begin the clinical studies as they are for medical devices rather than trials on our first diagnostic. The valuation progression in the first 2 years is legitimate. We finished the first capital raise with a company value of 1.4 million, raised that to 4.4 after the second capital raise, and I'm not sure if we're going to divide the first number by 5, but anyway, we are looking to reach a valuation in the $10 to $11 million range by completion of our third capital raise this year. Now, the background to our devices, they have come out of 2 things. The first is a market survey which has been done with diagnostic companies in the area in New Zealand, in Sydney and in the United States, and we carried out a similar survey with consultants and physicians in the diagnostic area, in the cancer diagnostic area, again in New Zealand, in Sydney and in the United States. And as you can see, the comments that come out of these really underpin the diagnostics that we are developing and the endpoints that we seek in the clinical studies that we are about to embark on. Now today, if you are a male and you are above 40, it's very likely that you will do an annual checkup, and most of you will have a PSA test. The first part of that is easy. Blood is taken, a PSA level is determined. If it's in the range of around 4 nanograms per mil and certainly if it's rising from year to year, men will experience a digital rectal examination, and if there are bumps on the prostate, they will quickly be put into a biopsy mode. The biopsy, most unpleasant, but the most, what's the word, harsh thing that one can say about biopsy is about 40% of them that are done today on individuals with rising PSA and suspicious prostate glands, about 40% of those actually are negative for prostate cancer. And herein lies the problem, both in the economics for diagnosing prostate cancer and in the issue of PSA. Its inability to diagnose the cancer, and certainly the inability to diagnose the stage of cancer. We're a content company. That means we make the diagnostics. We spend a lot of time with other companies looking at their platform on which our diagnostics will operate, because it's these platforms companies that we hope to either license to or partner with to make the actual diagnostic for the market. And in the main, these are actually diagnostic companies. So we select a platform, and our licensing and partnering strategy certainly is in tune with what's out there in the bigger companies. One interesting point is we are evaluating very carefully the area of Australasia to actually run a service-oriented test. The reason is it's a big market, and even capturing just a small percent of that market generates a significant revenue for a small prostate cancer diagnostic company. I'll talk about our lead product, which is Bioscans. PSA as a single test, doesn't pick up all the cancers and is responsible for false positives. We overcome this by looking at a range of potential markers for prostate cancer, from starting with 41 potential candidates. We've reduced this to 6. 3 of those biomarkers are protein from prostate cancer cells, 2 from immune cells that see prostate cancer, and 1 from bone, which is the major target of metastasizing prostate cancer. Our process is actually rather simple. We have a panel of blood donated by volunteers, men who have no prostate cancer, men who have been diagnosed with different forms of prostate cancer, or the prostate disorders which give the false positives and negatives, BPH, a non-cancerous condition, and prostatitis, which arises from infection. So this merely represents what you might look at. We take one biomarker, and there's a 105 blood sample member family. We screen and we look for the association of the marker with a particular form of prostate cancer, with health, or with another prostatic disorder. The test looks something like this. It's simply a micro titer assay using standard ELISA technology. You look across the panel of biomarkers, and you can simply see that the diagnosis of each of the conditions is made by a pattern or pattern recognition of 2 or more markers. Our second product is Guardians. That is the, I think, groundbreaking technology. That is a gene technology. Men who have prostate cancer secrete prostate cancer cells in urine. Urine is collected, cells are taken, and the RNA from the prostate cancer cells is analysed. We look at expressed RNA, we look at public databases as well as our own, and we have different ways of comparing normal levels in non-cancerous tissue and levels in cancerous tissue. And from this we select our markers. So PSA as a single test picks up PSA. Proscans is a panel of tests. It picks up by pattern recognition a number of disorders. Guardians, the red ticks simply indicate that with Proscans that's ready for clinical validation. I guess we're about a year away with respect to Guardians. The technology is far more complex, and then the red simply indicates biomarkers which are in testing. We file intellectual property. We have 6 filed patents in the US. One of those, interestingly, is an extension of the technology into breast cancer. Our licensing strategy is built up around the regulatory processes which govern in each country what you need to do to actually get a device into the market. And there is a flow to those which very much govern how this will be distributed. We have an experienced board, experienced business managers. They are also our major shareholders, and experienced individuals, myself, Richard Forster and Roland Toda, who have had many years in biotech startup companies and their exits. Thank you very much.